You're all looking at a screen with 6 flakes on it. In order, these are flakes of America, the UK, Germany, Singapore, Japan, and the Republic of Korea. I'm sure you're all familiar to these countries, but can you find a commonality between them? Maybe some of you can and some might not. The answer was that these are all capitalist countries. Maybe some of you guys don't know what capitalism is, but it's fine, because today in my presentation, I would explain what capitalism is in great detail. Now let's get started. Before we start, let's have a brief look at what capitalism is. Capitalism is an economic system in which a country's trade and industry are controlled by private owners for profit, and it's called 자본주의 in Korean. You can easily think this as an economic system in Korea. The first main benefit of capitalism is that citizens can enjoy freedom to choose what they want. Their personal opinions are respected by lots of people, and government cannot restrict them. Next is that citizens can own private property, so this can be motives for them to work harder. Last is that there is always competition that exists between numerous companies, so it can lead to economic growth and innovation. However, if there are benefits of something, there's always demerit following after. The main demerit of capitalism is wealth gap. Like I said, competition always exists between numerous companies in capitalism, and this can be an advantage of the system, but in the other hand could be a fatal drawback. Because it means that in a competition, there always exists a loser, and that loser has to live a life of social failure. So in a capitalist society, economic inequality is inevitable. If you look at this picture, you might feel it directly. And if you look at this graph, you can see that the wealth gap between top 5%, middle 20%, and bottom 20% is severe. This is a picture that shows how severe wealth gap in capitalism is. The man on the left side is eating bunch of money when the man on the right side has only a few coins in front of him. The next demerit of capitalism is environmental damage. You might all know that environmental damage is becoming worse and worse in modern days, but does she know that capitalism contributed to it? Capitalism contributes to environmental damage through climate change, resource depletion, and pollution. This is not a surprise when you consider the excessive amount of consumption and production capitalism leads to. We can see that the annual amount of carbon dioxide emissions have increased surprisingly when compared to the past. Furthermore, there are lots of books that deal with this problem, capitalism and environmental destruction. If you look at this picture, we can see that if capitalism keeps on like this, Earth's extinction could come in the close future. Now that you guys pretty know a lot about capitalism, I want to talk about another economic system called communism. Communism is an economic system creating a classless society in which all property is publicly owned, and is called 공산주의 in Korean. This picture is a symbol of communism. And these are the countries that follow it. Communism also has advantages and disadvantages. First, I want to talk about the advantages of communism. The benefit of communism is that it provides equality for all citizens, needs are provided from the country, and has more security. However, there are also fatal demerits. First, there is no incentive for doing extra, so it does not provide any motive for people to work harder. Next is that there is a lack of competition, so it leads eventually to slow economic growth. Last but not least is that there is less freedom and opportunity to citizens in comparison with capitalist society. And lots of things are restricted by the government. Since there are strict limitations, this picture expresses the lack of freedom in a communist society. As you can see, there are numerous differences between communism and capitalism, so capitalist countries and communist countries are not that friendly with each other. We can say that they were competitors for a long time. Now this is the end of my presentation, and if you have no questions, I will move on to quiz. First question, name two demerits of capitalism.
gap. Equality gap.
And one more. Oh, wait. Yeah.
Environmental damage.
Yeah. The two demerits of capitalism is wealth gap and environmental damage. Second question, name two demerits of communism. Yes?
It doesn't motivate people to work harder.
Yeah.
And they lack freedom and opportunities.
Yeah, you're right. The demerit of communism is that there is no incentive for doing extra, lack of freedom, and less competition. In my presentation today, we have gone through what capitalism is, the merits and demerits of it, and the relationship with communism. I hope my presentation today was a speech that could cast lots of questions about capitalism to you. Thank you for listening.